So here we are. About the very good day. I've done my morning. Yeah, you probably aren't hearing me. Okay, so hey, how are you? So my mic broke, and now I got to hold my mic. All right. Um, First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I'd like to take a moment to truly thank you. If there's anything in your life bothering you, this would be a good moment to just sit back and contemplate exactly what it is that have an intention. Hopefully, this hour or this time that you spend with me, I should be able to um, help you answer that. Okay. So, hopefully, when I come on, when you see me, when I'm talking to you guys, when I'm speaking into the camera, I'm not talking just to the camera. I'm talking to you, directly to you. I'm talking to the person that's watching me right now who has anxiety of what's going to happen, for the person who is depressed for not choosing the right thing, or the person who has doubts about how they feel, about how they should act, about pretty much everything about it. You know who you're talking about. You know who you are. So, um, I wrote a book called The Pocket Guide to Becoming 13 Principles of Power, Presence, and Purpose. And that book was more of a guide on what to do, how to do it, what is it exactly that helped me move on and progress. So these are little insights, and they're found in my book. You can find my book in the link in my bios. Okay, but I really haven't read it to anybody. Maybe I got a crazy idea to go ahead and just read it to you guys. So let's do it real quick. Let's do it real quick. Dedication. So this is the Pocket Guide to Becoming 13 Principles for Power, Presence, and Purpose. Of course, by me. Okay. So let's start off with the dedication. Dedication to the 21-year-old version of me. You were still under factory settings. You didn't have this, but you needed it. No one gave it to you, so you learned the hard way. Through the mistakes I've made since, I've written the shortcuts that I wish you had. To my son, I wrote this for you first, so that when life gets loud, you'll have something solid to return to. So you'll never forget who you are, even when the world tries to make you. To every man who lacked, to the ones who did without, to those who fought to become something more, to the man still looking for a way, and even the ones who have everything but still feel something is missing, well, this is for you. Let this be your mirror. Let this be your map. Let this help you find your light. So that was dedication. Now, here's a quick author's note. This began as a letter to my son. Not advice, not instruction, just a final gift. Something solid he could stand on when life got loud. I watched him step into his own manhood, and in that moment, I realized something. I had one last thing to give him. Not just words, but a foundation, a compass, a code. What started as 13 reminders became something much bigger. It became fire, a mirror, a framework for every man who's ever felt like there's something more inside, but didn't know where to begin. This book isn't for the man pretending to have it all figured out. It's for the one who's been carrying too much for too long. This one is who's tired of repeating cycles that don't serve him. The one who's ready to build something different. I wrote this for my son. I wrote this for the man that I used to be. I wrote this for you. So let's begin. To the reader, let's get this straight from the beginning. This is not a self-help book. This is a mirror, a challenge, a weapon. You won't find feel-good fluff in here. You'll find clarity, truth, and fire. If you're willing to sit in it, the truth, this book won't make you feel any better. It will remind you of who the hell you are. Inside these pages are 13 principles, each one forged through failure, refined and disciplined, and tested in real life. They're not meant to be read and admired. They're meant to be practiced. Each principle is a call to action, a test, a tool, a standard. Start at principle 1. Don't skip around. Don't skim. Sit with each one until inside you shifts, until the noise quiets and the real you steps forward. And when you finish, you should start over. I'm actually reading my book. It's called The Pocket Guide to Becoming 13 Principles of Power, Presence, and Purpose. These 13 principles aren't a finish line. They're a foundation, a living code, once you carry and sharpen for the rest of your life. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men who live with purpose. So, if you're ready, really ready, let's begin. Teddy Roosevelt and Sabrina Carpenter. Okay, I don't know who I know who Teddy Roosevelt is. Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But thank you. Okay, let's start at principle number 1. Principle number 1: remember who you are. The first step is not becoming; it's remembering. The first step to becoming is remembering that of which you already are. You were never broken. You were buried under pressure, noise, fear, and performance. But you forgot. Forgetting is part of the design. This world teaches you to chase identity, to perform, to please, to become something better. But your real power, it's in remembering who you've always been. Most men try to improve before they awaken. But action without identity is empty. You don't need more motivation. You need to reclaim your truth. This isn't about adding, it's about subtracting, clearing the layers that aren't you. You've always been fire. You've been covered in ash. Now it's time to clear it. Carl Jung said, the man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from his unconscious. While Thich Nhat Hanh said, what you are looking for is already in you. You are everything you are seeking. Here's a field note from the observer. There's a voice you hear when you ask yourself a question. Who said it? If you asked and you heard it, then who's watching the thought take shape? If you can see your past and imagine your future, but you're still here unmoved, then who's doing the seeing? That's the one you're here to remember. Here's some daily practices for remembering. Daily morning mirror check. Look yourself in the eyes and say, I'm not my title. I'm not my past. I am presence in motion. Feel it. Don't just say it. I am presence in motion. Here's a midday alignment pause. Ask, is this action coming from truth or fear? And adjust accordingly. The reason I say that is, and that's not in my book right here, but the reason I ask to act in truth and not fear is because we have a tendency of acting around fear. When we act around fear, we are acting as we're responding. Okay? It's a reaction. You're not being proactive. You're not doing it. So that's why I said it. If you're talking from truth, truth pushes you forward. All right? So that's why I said, is this action coming from truth or fear? And then you have to adjust accordingly. Now, reflect it. Did I live aligned? Here's something for at the end of the day, evening reset. Did I live aligned with who I already am? with who I really am, or did I have, excuse me, or who I've been told to be? So who were you today? Were you present? Were you there at every moment? Or were you thinking off in la la land, thinking about yesteryear and tomorrow's were? That's what we're talking about. You need to be present in the moment. Is there a difference between motivation and desire satisfaction? Okay, that's amazing. But here's the thing. You have to think about, desire is more on the aspects of wants, right? Motivation is more of the aspect of action. So has one has action, other has just wishfulness. Cool. You need action. You can think about anything and everything you want, but you have to apply action to it. Here's the thing. We're taught to, well, I didn't even finish my chapter. Let me see, make sure I want to finish the chapter before I move on from it. I want to make sure I finish the chapter. I don't want to, give me 1 second here before I move on. No, that's good. Let me finish the chapter and then I'll move on. All right. So let's see. All right. Evening reset. Did you live aligned with who did I live aligned with who I really am or who I've been told to be? Right. So you reset, you recenter, you reset. Now here's something that's a lie. You need to become something new. That belief is a trap. You don't need to become more. You need to shed the false layers that you don't need. So you don't need to rebuild yourself. You just need to be revealed. Who we are and what our purpose and what it is that we do is already inside of us. It's just a matter of how we perceive our atmosphere. It turns out that the world tells us, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. We tend to do certain things, but as we do things that don't align with who we truly are, we actually get sick, whether it be stress mentally or what physical. Like, people get diseases. They become dis-ease. There's something wrong. They're not at ease. Their body is not at ease. They're in dis-ease. So, okay. So here's the trap. You need to be revealed. Here you go. The man who knows himself can never be controlled. The man who knows himself can never be controlled, because once you truly know what you're capable of, what your possibilities are, you will never be dominated again. We do not become, we uncover. That was a paraphrase by Marcus Aurelius. All right. Jim Rohn reminds us that you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. That change begins when you remember the direction that's always yours. Final thoughts. Remembering isn't thinking. It's not analysis or affirmation. It's the moment your mind gets quiet and your spirit says, there I am. It's a frequency, a click, a homecoming. The most powerful man isn't the one who invents himself. It's the one who remembers the truth underneath the mask, that walks the line like it's already there. Here's a real world reminder. When life got loud, I remember that 21-year-old who only wanted his time back before the world convinced him to chase anything else. Before we transition now into principle 2, I want you to remember who you are. The next step is to decide what that man stands for. You don't rise by feeling, and building requires a personal code. So when we move on to principle 2, we're going to define the standard. All right. So now we're on chapter 2, heading up to principle 2. define the standard. Uh, Principle number 2, define the standard. Discipline isn't a trait, it's a decision. The successful warrior is the average man with laser like focus. Now, if you know of anybody, that was actually said by Bruce Lee. Once you remember who you are, the next step is to set your internal compass. Not your goals, not your hype, not with hype, but with standards. A man without standards will accept anything. He'll chase feelings, he'll compromise, he'll drown in distractions. But a man with a clear code, he walks with power, even in silence. Now, what is the standard? It's not perfection. It's a baseline agreement with yourself about how you show up. It's the line you won't cross, even when no one is looking. It's how you respond to life punches you in the face. Standards shape how you walk, talk, think, love, lead, rest, and rise. Here's the truth. You already have standards. You're just either living by them or letting them slip away. Abraham Lincoln said once, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most. Here's a field note from the Observer. The moment you break a promise to yourself, you feel it. That split second sensation in your gut when you say, I'll do it tomorrow, or it doesn't matter just this once, but someone's always watching. Every time you lower the bar, you teach your subconscious your words mean nothing. Remember, I said someone's always watching, and it's you. You need to raise that bar and keep it there. Here's a daily practice for defining a standard. Morning declaration. What kind of man am I showing up as today? Name it, define it, and walk like it. Here's a midday correction. Where have I slipped? Reset, reclaim the line. Now, here's the evening audit. Did I keep my word to myself today? No guilt and just the truth. Here's a lie. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. You will. That's all that matters. Lowering your standard to match your situation is the beginning of self destruction. If you want peace, become a man you can trust. Discipline is, Jim Rohn reminds us that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Your standard is your bridge. If it's weak, your future collapses. Here's some final thoughts. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. So you need to define them. Etch them into your nervous system and don't just live by them. You need to become them. Here's a real world reminder. The day I raised my standards, the day I raised my standards was the day I stopped apologizing for expecting more from myself. As we transition into principle 3, once your standard is defined, you stopped obsessing over outcomes. You focus on what you control and your input, your energy, and your alignment. Principle number 3. Let's focus on the input. So detach from the outcome and master the process. We must make the choice to act, even when the results aren't guaranteed. Hey, everybody is coming in. Welcome. You can't control the results. You can only control your inputs, your energy, your frequency, your integrity. That's the part that's yours. When you obsess over outcomes, you lose presence. You actually lose power. I can't discipline. I did what chapter 1 says. I know myself, but I believe there is something missing between knowing yourself and discipline. Now, you will never do what you were never going to do. And the only thing is, discipline is the only thing that's going to lead you to whatever it is that you desire. So forget about motivation. Motivation is bullshit. Whoever says, oh, you got to get motivated. Yeah, that's fucking retarded. That's not happening. Discipline is the one that actually does all the work. It's the one that prepares you. Give me 1 second here. All right. So if discipline, for example, you're looking to, looking to learn something new, whatever it is. Okay. And you work for a living, you have a full day ahead. You don't know when you're going to have time, but you know it's important. But because it depends on how important it is, you're never going to do anything that's not important to you. You're never going to do anything that you don't want to do. Your body's going to automatically do it. So now, when you realize that if I need to get better, I need to force myself. Your mind is telling you, you're going to do this. You're going to tell your body. All right. So when you don't, you realize, hey, I've disappointed myself. The more you love yourself, the more you answer to yourself, the more you trust yourself, the more you obey yourself. You're never going to hurt yourself. You're never going to mistreat yourself. You're never going to, just certain little things. The more you take care of what you have, the more grateful you get. The more, well, I think you get the point. Let's just focus on the input. All right. So principle number 3, focus on the input. We must make the choice to act. I'm wearing my wife's glasses again. We must make the choice to act even when the results aren't guaranteed. And here's the thing. You don't know the outcome. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we need to present ourselves and do our best currently right now. Instead of thinking about yesteryear or tomorrow's worry, whatever it could be, I need to focus on what we call the task at hand. Currently, I'm talking to you guys. That is my task at hand. I need to be present and forward. Because I could actually show you guys something too if you want. Here, watch this. Task at hand. So I flip the camera around, and you'll see that I actually have a little canal, and I enjoy my backyard. Well, let's feed some here. Watch this. And everybody's going to go say, the fish are eating. The ducks are happy. All right. I love this so much. I come out here every morning, and I talk to God. I talk to myself. I talk to the animals. Got more guys coming. Okay, so let's go back. Principle number 3, focus on the input. You need to detach from the outcome. You need to master the process. So like I said before, we must make the choice to act even when the results aren't guaranteed. The reason is this. You don't know what's going to happen. All you know is that you need to keep working on yourself. Muscle memory, right? You can't control the results. You can only control your input, your energy, your effort, your frequency, your integrity. That's the part that's yours. When you assess over outcomes, you lose presence and you lose power. You can't control anybody else. You don't know. You can't tell them to do certain things. And if they don't want to do it, they won't do it. You can't tell somebody, don't think of a yellow elephant, because the next thing you know, I just promised that you just thought of a yellow elephant. So you can't tell anybody not to do anything because they're going to fucking do it anyway. So if that's the case, you just focus on yourself. That's the only thing I can control, and that is me. I can control when I sleep. I can control when I eat. I can control when I read. I can control it, right? I can control what I think. I can control how I feel. Can you? You can try. I don't use the word try. So let's. You can have the intention of controlling. Now later on, I'll actually teach you guys something about feelings and why they're bullshit. But anyway, most men don't burn out from working too hard. They burn out from chasing results they can't control. Focus on what's in your hands. Let the harvest take care of itself. You're not the machine, you're a sower. You plant, water, and protect. That's your role. You reap what you sow. That was in the Bible, Galatians 6:7. Success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime's transformations. That was James Clear. So, field note from the observer. When you chase fruit, you forget to nourish the root. Outcomes are echoes, they reflect the state of your internal world. So don't ask, what did I get today? Ask, what did I give, build, or become today? Because the return is always coming, but only if the input is aligned. You're going to have your lazy days. Make sure that you are grateful for those lazy days. Don't feel bad that you have a lazy day when you are working, but always tell yourself, all right, you have to ask, am what I'm doing right now serves a purpose? If the answer is yes, then move on. If the answer is no, then ask yourself, what could I be doing? And then just keep going. Okay? Ask, what did I give, build, or become today? Because the return is always coming, but only if the input is aligned. All right. Daily practice for focusing on input. Morning intentions. What do I control today? Write it down and stick to it. Midday realignment. Check your energy. Are you reacting or creating? Evening reflection. What did I pour into today without needing instant results? Hi, Grincha. Good morning. Grincha came out. Say hi. Say hi. You say hi? You say hi? Go. Let's feed some more fish. Wow. There, watch that. I love that. Okay, so here's a lie. If it didn't work, it was a waste. Wait, is that it? Yes, that's where I'm at. The lie. If it didn't work, it was a waste. That's the wrong. That's outcome addiction talking. Every aligned action is a deposit into your future. You just got to keep planting. We do a lot of things in our day that have nothing to do with what we need to do. The problem is, it is already in motion for something else to happen. Okay? You need to become. Now, you need to act as are. We need to act as, not act as if. We need to act as are. I like that saying, act as are. I heard it a long time ago, and I kept it. I need to act as are. Why? Because when I act as are, I am the person I am that I envision in the future, right? Well, if I am that vision and I have that goal, that mentality, that everything, what does that person do with my current resources? Right? So if that's the case, I need to think about that. Okay? What is it that I can do today to become that other person? If I am that person in the future, right now, what do I need to do today to make sure that that happens? And that's all I need to do. All right. So if it didn't work, it's a waste. That is correct. Why? Because if it's out, don't worry about the outcomes, because you're just building it. You're learning it. Jim Rohn reminds us, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Your job is to predict the outcomes. Your job isn't to predict the outcome. Your job is to practice the disciplines. Okay, final thoughts. Most men quit too soon, not because they lacked talent, but because they couldn't stomach the waiting. Let others chase shortcuts. You sow consistency. You sow truth. You sow value, and over time, you'll never lack harvest again. Real world reminders. When I stopped chasing results and just showed up every day with clean energy, everything started coming faster and easier. So, as I transition now to principle number 4, let's do this. Once you focus on the input, you realize something. You have a power, the power to lift the room, shift the energy, and raise the vibration. It's time to stop waiting for impact and start becoming the impact. Principle number 4, be the impact, be the uplift. Make something or someone better every day. When you leave a room, something or someone should be better because you were there. Stop waiting for impact. Be the impact. Stop waiting for good energy. Bring the energy. You don't need a big platform to shift the world. You only need presence and intention. In the moment you're in, every man influences. The only question is, are you lifting or are you drowning? We all have we all have met the man who makes you feel seen. He speaks life. He raises the tone. He doesn't just take space. He creates space. Be that man. You don't need permission. Maya Angelou said, people may forget what you said, but you'll never forget how you made them feel. Now, I like this one. You don't rise by pushing others down. You rise by lifting others up. Here's a field note from the observer. Energy is real. And whether you believe it or not, you're transmitting constantly. Your presence speaks louder than your words. Your tone shapes atmospheres, and your attitude can heal or poison. So don't wait to feel good or to do good. Act like the light. Eventually, you become it. Here's a daily practice for being the uplift. Morning charge ups. Who could I encourage today? Who needs my presence? Not my perfection. Midday kindness trigger. Act small, big ripple. Hold the door. Text somebody. Compliment with honesty. Evening scan. Did I make someone or something better today? And if I did, how did I leave that room? Here's a lie. I don't matter that much. Yes, you do. You shift rooms. You shift outcomes. Your presence has weight. Use it and use it well. Jim Rohn reminds us, give without expecting anything in return, and the return will always come. Life echoes your energy, so raise it. Final thoughts. Uplifting isn't weakness. It's leadership. It's maturity. It's legacy. Be the kind of man whose light makes others remember their own. Real world reminders. A simple "you got this" to a stranger at a gas station changed both of our days. Energy transfers. Always. Transitioning to principle number 5. Once you start showing up as a, you realize something deeper. You can't give what you don't embody. It's time to lead yourself with clarity, discipline, and inner vision. So the next principle is principle number 5, lead yourself first. We're coming up on half an hour. I could continue. We'll take a small break here and just reflect a little bit. Mm. As I sit here and just ponder, it's almost 8 o'clock. My day's about to begin. I got a lot of things that I need to work on today. So I think we're going to end this with I've already done my meditation, but we'll end it with, let's say, 10, 15 breaths, gratitude. Uh, thank you for being here. I want to give back to you guys, and I will do that by everybody who is here, who's watching. I'm going to do something special for you guys. All right. We're going to continue on principle number 5 tomorrow. All right. And for now, let's just do a quick energy movement. Let me, let's go here like this. Okay, here we go. I gotta put my mic down. All right, so if you're not driving and you're here with me right now, I want you to close your eyes. Just sit back. Try to keep your back straight. Sit up straight. Ground yourself. If you have shoes on, take them off. Touch the floor. Do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that you center yourself. We're going to come back. We're going to do 15 breaths. Real simple. You have to remember to push the breath out from your stomach. Once again, you can breathe when you breathe in, right? You're breathing in with force. You're breathing in that air. It's coming in with that consciousness. You're breathing in that connection, the ether, God, the connection to everything is coming in. You're breathing it in. Now, when you're coming in, we're going to act like a aircraft engine, right? So we're aircraft mechanics, right? So we have a background in that. So if we are engines, what do engines do? They suck, squeeze, bang, and blow. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Suck. Now we're gonna squeeze. We're gonna bang. It's internally. The banging happens internally when we squeeze, right? So that internal combustion is just gonna explode. We're gonna take all of that energy that's coming in. We're gonna use our bodies to explode everything positive from that air to help nourish us. And at the same time, we're going into clarity. We're gonna clear the mind. So before we move on, we're also thinking about our intentions. What is my intention to asking, what am I doing right now? Okay. What's my intention? Everything that we do has to have an intention, whether it be A, B, or C. It doesn't matter, but you have to be firm with that intention. Once that intention is firm, everything else can do. We can't just do to do, right? You can't just breathe to breathe because you're breathing to stay alive. You can't just move. It's because you're uncomfortable, whatever it is. So once again, your intention. So my intention for today is to share energy with the group and be able to promote positive warmth, whatever you need right now. Clear your mind. Take my energy. I'm giving it to you right now. Use it. Enjoy it. Ready? I hope you have a fantastic day. Here we go. Thank you for being here. I love you. My name is Nestor. I'll see you tomorrow.